This Thursday night football props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code SGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. Download the Rebet app and use code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. I mean, once again, just absolute shockwave ripples throughout the sports betting community. I've once again created so much value for the people, Sean.
Yes, coming up.
I'm not trying to brag.
Coming up. Hopefully, you tuned into the Sunday night recap and prop show. Hopefully, you tailed Kramer's DegenOnly parlay. Kramer, just in case people missed the college episode, maybe they're purists and only appreciate professional football. Remind people of your massive cash.
Well, and it wasn't even that. We multiple times talked about how Joe Mixon tends to have these spike games. Joe Mixon 2 touchdowns, 100 yards rushing, 25 yards receiving, and the kicker was under 2.5 receptions. Which, by the way, Sean,
he had what would have ended up being the third reception. That thing was in his hands.
Drops a pass earlier in the fourth quarter, and then of course catches a meaningless when whatever the Texans were doing at the end of that game, a catch at the end of the game that would have been the ultimate right up the ass bad beat. but it wasn't, and people all over the internet were posting their similarly crafted or the same game parlays. I saw DK picked up one of our shout out to I should be prepared because by the way,
one of the
credit was given, which I really that was very kind.
One of the listeners to the show put a hundo on it, which is nice and spicy for a DegenOnly prop bet, and cashed over it was over 10K. DraftKings, of course, picked up the slip. Must have forgot our handle. Did not get mentioned in the tweet, but the listener was kind enough to show us some love there.
Captain Capper 45. He does like to post a lot of slips, but posted a 110 to win $10,450. Which by the way, I mean, I look at the DK odds and I see it got boosted a bit, but boy, if only you would place that at FanDuel. Juicy. Yeah. So shout out to the captain.
Shout out to the captain
and everyone else who won.
It's always fun seeing all the messages come in. Everyone hyping up the Sports Gambling Podcast. Kramer with the nice cash. Kramer said he was considering not giving out a DegenOnly prop bet because he set the bar so high.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay.
What I said was I thought maybe I would take the entire episode off. Because I've contributed so much value to the ecosystem. I want to let other people, aka you and Britton, have a chance.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Ryan. Shout out to the chat. Chat is fired up. Jerome Booger Sugar is there. Hooked on Bo Nix. Saying fresh powder here in Colorado. Better check the shed.
Let's go.
Shout out to Brad Martin. Said he was a little late. Got caught up in a Bitcoin video.
What?
I know he was also very excited that the Kansas City Queefs, as he called them, lost. So shout out to you, Brad.
I mean, Brad, what do we get lost in?
And it's Brad's birthday, Ryan. Happy birthday, Brad.
Is Bitcoin code? Is that a new genre of? Is that a new type of porn I'm not familiar with?
Brad, hopefully you're having a great birthday.
Cryptocurrency porn.
Hopefully you got some whores. And Tyler Lentz, legend in the Discord himself.
What's Tyler?
He's hit a number of awesome mega cashes in the same game parlay market. So make sure you hit him up in the Discord. He's always firing off some good plays. Good to see him in the chat. Oh, and pointing out the price of Bitcoin. He's a big crypto guy as well. Easy, the whole crew, Ryan, all the hardcore.
I'm a degenerate.
Are there ready to go? Glad we have that sound drop for the Mike Tomlin themed episode when we talk Steelers Browns.
Quick note on Bitcoin.
Yes.
When Bitcoin goes up like this, it's a disaster.
Why?
Because I just think about what my deposit could have been.
Yeah, it's you really. If you're in the crypto market, you can't think about those 2 Bitcoins you got for $2,000 and you sold them for $4,000.
But I'm even talking a couple months ago.
Yeah, I know. Even
I'm having a good football season. It's like, well, shit. If it just stayed Bitcoin, I'm a donkey.
Hey, look at 2023. There's again, someone had a great tweet that they paid. 180 grand for Molly back in like 2015 when they were in college. So, again, don't get, Tyler Lentz with a great Bitcoin story saying he deposited 50 Bitcoin back in 2012. That was $500. So you see, that's the thing. Every crypto gone wrong story, there's someone who's had it way worse. And of course they always make fun of the guy who got the 2 pizzas. RIP to that guy. Well, maybe he's still, got some Bitcoin later on.
Got to be careful.
All right. Enough cryptocurrency chit chat, Ryan. We're going to be joined, by the host of the Daily Dog on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network every Monday to Friday, giving you some underdog fantasy picks. Mr. Britton Hess. Britton, thanks for hopping on the show. How's it going, man?
Oh, I'm happy to be back. I got to follow up the performance last week. Got that random second half touchdown prop. We got the 3 out of 4 legs of the ladder. So it was a beautiful, beautiful showing. I need to follow that one up with my Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, and I think to pull back the curtain, and Sean and I didn't talk about this, but I do like the idea, Sean, of this being a little bit of a make it take it spot. Okay, going forward.
Yeah, if the host comes up green, then you keep them, you bring them on back next week.
That's
if
what
not,
the people. I mean,
rotate the seat. Everyone loves a hot hand. Everyone loves a hot dealer.
Well, we got some hot picks today. That's for sure.
Oh, well, here we go. And of course, again, reminder, I know you're coming from the fantasy projection world over at Underdog Fantasy. Yeah. These are actual props. We will be giving out an underdog entry, which hit not only the one you guys gave out, but then, well, essentially I gave it out, but then I swapped in the Brian Robinson Jr. because I cannot in my spirit play something positive for the command or against the Eagles. Essentially, I put in Terry McLaurin under receiving yards, so that was a no sweat. You guys got the Brian Robinson Jr. touchdown. Everyone who tailed the underdog entry had a nice cash there. So. Yeah, let's get into it. Britton, you're on the clock. What is your first prop here for Thursday Night Football?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bad misprice on George Pickens touchdown plus 225. I don't understand how he's getting over 2-1. I obviously, the Steelers were kicking field goals last week, but it was because every time they were near the red zone, Russell Wilson was just taking shots to George Pickens while he was covered in the end zone. It wasn't due to lack of opportunity. It just didn't come together. Sometimes that's going to happen. But you'll see that there's a little bit of a bullishness on me in this Steelers passing game throughout the evening of us recording the show. But plus 225 on George Pickens, who's like leading the league in go route targets, a guy who's about as good as it gets in 50-50 balls right now. I know that everyone talks about, the splits for the Browns defense at home versus away, and they're much better at home. Not really anymore. I mean, this team is just done. The Stefanski era is over. It's
Zadarius Smith. When they traded Zadarius Smith and Amari Cooper, I'm kicking myself for drinking that Jameis Kool-Aid. It was sweet that first win, but we should have seen the signs coming. Ryan, no need to be on the Browns against the Saints.
It's interesting. They're basically they have a very similar profile to the Bengals defense, and that's trash.
Very bad defense. Very susceptible to receivers. Very bad cornerbacks. I'm going to pick up where Britton left off, and again, Britton kind of one up in me because if you recall, Last week's episode, I had Hurts anytime touchdown. He comes in with Hurts second half touchdown,
which was very nice.
Yeah, which was a sweet cash and good handicap there. I'm going to go with George Pickens over 56.5 receiving yards. This is one of Rhythm's favorite plays. Again, shout out to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. Get the 7-day free trial. They've been doing very well in the props, and obviously you can use it for fantasy projections as well. Kind of whatever you're getting down, they can help you out. NBA, college basketball, college football, NFL sides total. Very easy to build your own model. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com. All right, THMM, get your 7-day free trial. Pickens over 56.5 receiving yards. He's gone over this all 4 games with Russ at the helm. Browns, like you said, not great against the receivers, and even in that game, as you pointed out last week against the Ravens. Shout out to us, Ryan. We're all over the Steelers. You had a money line for your dog. I had him as a lock. Even in that game, which was kind of an ugly game for the Steelers offense in a lot of ways, he still got 8 for 89. So I mean, kind of even in a 34-point game, he's still getting 89 receiving yards, tons of targets, tons of opportunities. George Pickens, I mean, play his catches, yards, touchdowns, whatever you like. He's gonna have a good Thursday night. Kramer, what are you doing?
This was not planned, and I kind of feel bad. It's like you got one upped a little bit by Britton last week, and I love the George Pickens prop. It's a sharp prop from you, but why not just play the 100 yards?
Oh wow!
I think you have a situation here where, you know, what was the lesson that we learned from my performance on Monday Night Football, Sean? You want to play the ceiling, and so George Pickens,
go big or go home.
100 yards is plus 430.
Wow, that is a very good price.
We're gonna start with. I mean, I also like, just for the record, I'm also gonna play what you gave out, and I'm also gonna play what Britton gave out. We can stay tuned to later in the show when I do some just beautiful Picasso-esque same game part. I lied earlier. There is no way I was missing this opportunity to talk Steelers same
to go
game
back
parlay.
to back
But
same game parlays.
George Pickens 100 yards plus 430.
Yeah, like it. All in on the mic.
Can you believe that the anytime touchdown is plus 2? I mean, that is insane.
That is kind of crazy.
It's because they don't score. It's like you're getting the bump from them just not being a touchdown team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like I mean, we'll get into it with my next prop, but just, you know, last week 0 passing touchdowns for Russell Wilson. 2 weeks ago against the Commanders, 3 passing touchdowns. But like these numbers are like, yeah, I know the 0 touchdowns. That's basically how it always works, despite that being his first 0 touchdown game with the Steelers.
Well, and you can see it based on where the no touchdown is priced.
Yeah, like, no touchdown, which I did obviously take a look at for the first touchdown market. You're obligated in the AFC North Thursday night game. You gotta at least look at the price, but 35-1 for no touchdown is crazy on a lot of levels. And I do think the more I kind of dug into it, the more I do think there's some good matchups for the Steelers. Their ability to move the ball. Britton, what's another prop you like here for Thursday night football?
I kind of gave it away, but it's just another misprice. Russell Wilson 2+ passing touchdowns is plus 240. Like they're acting like, you know, we've got Will Levis out here or something, and Will Levis actually can do it in you know, garbage time. I know that it's Thursday night, playbooks are gonna be closed, and people are looking back and like, oh, all those field goals last week the Steelers scored. That wasn't because it was, you know, 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line and they ran Najee into the back of the line 3 times, then kicked the field goal. They were literally throwing end zone shots every possession. One of those actually resulted in an interception when Russell Wilson threw to Darnell Washington, and Darnell Washington's like, wait, I'm a big guy. I'm not an athletic guy. I can't make a play on that. So it's just kind of crazy. It's like they look at the result and not how the game played out. You know, if you're a PFF person or, you know, ESPN Plus or NFL Plus, get on there and check out the targets, because the Steelers were taking end zone shots plenty last week through the air. It's just a joke. Plus 240 for a top half the league quarterback with an elite wide receiver and a top red zone tight end. And also a receiver back in Jaylen Warren, who can also make some guys miss from 20 yards out. Have plus 240 for him just to throw 2 passing touchdowns, which is very normal. I know passing's down this year, but I mean, it would be normal if it was like plus 160. It's plus 240.
Yeah, I mean,
the matchup is better. Yeah, the matchup is better than it would normally.
I mean,
be.
last year, if you want to compare last year, those like over 1.5 passing touchdowns for an average NFL quarterback was like, like plus 110, like even money. Like it was pretty much just, hey, a coin toss. Defense has been better, passing has been down. But to your point, I don't think you adjust Russ that far off of 1.5, and certainly a lot of people have had good. I mean, look at what the Saints did to that Browns defense. Like, yeah, sure, maybe Browns are looking ahead. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more up for this game.
Well,
certainly.
looking ahead to Cancun. I mean, they're 2-win team. Like what they're you can make that joke. I mean, we'll get into it a little bit more, but just the injury report for the Browns right now, they've got so many guys that are huge. Myles Garrett questionable, Elijah Moore questionable, David Njoku questionable, Jedrick Wills offensive tackle questionable. Might want to keep an eye on that one moving forward. And then Ward also questionable. The corner, like there's so many guys that are Denzel Ward and also their nickel Greg Newsome. So many guys that affect the passing game of the other team's offense are questionable. And I'm not, maybe these guys are really hurt, or maybe they're saying, you know what, it's a short week. We're not going anywhere. I'm getting paid regardless. Let's take this one off.
It does feel like the Browns, and good time to talk big picture stuff. If you're the Browns, can you bring Stefanski back? What do you do with Deshaun Watson? You almost have to just blow it up. I guess it'll kind of depend on what their draft pick ends up looking like. But Britton, what's Cleveland's move from here? It feels like they're kind of fucked. You're almost going to have to start a rookie quarterback, or I mean, what's the point of starting Jameis for another year? Like, I don't know. At least draft a guy. See, maybe you get lucky. But what's Cleveland's move from here?
Their move is to be thankful that the Jets demand the spotlight, and they're a huge train wreck as well. Despite, I mean, but we act like this Browns team was always going to be terrible. They were, pretty close to. I think the Ravens were the favorite preseason, and I'm pretty sure the Browns and the Bengals were pretty close for the second odds on or the second choice to win this. And then obviously the Steelers way deep in the rearview mirror. And I also point out that when we did the preseason Steelers show, all three of us were very high on the Steelers compared to the market, and none of us were even high enough to get to this 8-2 record we're at after 10 games. So it's pretty wild. But no, I think the big picture is that Stefanski needs to. I think that he needs to go. I think he's kind of been exposed. He's not that good. I think that they, at the what's crazy about the Watson trade is when it happened, nobody was like, "Oh, well, actually, it's pretty smart, pretty good. It's going to work out."
It was one of those things where every talking head, every fan said this is the worst deal of all time. Yeah. And there are literally no freezing cold takes with Deshaun Watson. Like everyone was the only freezing cold takes were the people that tried to talk themselves into Deshaun Watson. Oh, he puts those troubles behind him, and that's the Stefanski offense. He had like one kind of okay game. He's been injured. He seemingly has kind of a shitty attitude. They're certainly not playing for him. I mean, you saw that as soon as Jameis came in, what juice was left in that offense immediately popped. And then, it's Jameis being Jameis. Like there's just the fact that they laid down that hard, the arm tackling by the defense against the Saints coming out of a bye. And now you have a short week. Oh man, it's going to be hard to objectively look at this game when we talk picks, Ryan. But I feel I was going to almost drop an L bomb, Ryan, but I can see myself starting to form a thought on a certain side here. Speaking of Jameis, a prop I like, fading Jameis under 7.5 rushing yards. Now maybe you get screwed in like last if the Steelers are up big, maybe he broken play, but he's not much of a runner in general. I know he had that one game where he had 5 carries, but for the most part, he's not running a ton. Steelers, one of the best in the league at stopping quarterback runs. Also a prop that Rhythm likes. I think they've only allowed like 110 yards in 10 games there, which I get, hey, the average is over, but you guys like Lamar obviously throw off that. Like, I don't know if you take out Lamar, I'd love to, I'll do the math real quick, but Jameis Winston's not a guy who's going to rush intentionally a bunch. And the Steelers linebackers are pretty good at tracking him down. So I would be surprised if he goes over this. Give me the under 7.5 rushing yards for Jameis Winston. Kramer, what do you got?
He's a bona fide lawn chair, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, and worth noting too, the if you also like George Pickens, the longest reception price is 23.5 yards, which is cheaper than it was last week when we cashed. Yeah, play that
easy money.
So all right, so Britton mentioned Russ earlier. I do think his sexiness was, we were distracted by a week of the Baltimore Ravens. And as Mike Tomlin said when he was asked, Mike, what if I told you weren't going to score a touchdown? You were going to kick a bunch of field goals and win the game. And he just looked back at the reporter, snapped, Ravens Steelers.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it is. So like you highlighted with the Russ passing touchdown price, the yards price is just at a point where, come on. We know there's going to be some deep stuff. 172.5 is the number. Sean. I mean, both quarterbacks, for the record, have comically low yardage totals. It's Jameis Winston's at 212.5. Like they're not watching Jameis throw the ball like he has 0 fucks to give. He's averaging like 45 attempts a game. And then they got Russ down at 172.5. Like we've kind of been talking about, the Browns defense is gettable through the air big time. So, I mean, Taysom Hill slinging the ball down the field against the Browns last week, Sean.
Yeah.
Russ over 172.5 passing yards.
That is, that's really low. And shout out to the chat.
It's like Will Levis.
Yeah. Poor Will Levis taking strays left and right. Shout out to the chat reminding us to talk about the weather. It does look like could be getting some rain there on Thursday. I always, for me, handicapping, the thing that matters is wind. Wind is below 20. Like once it gets 20, 25, then maybe I'm starting to consider it. But I don't know. I guess we'll see come kickoff. But I'm not downgrading that massively here. Are you?
Russ has massive hands. Do we not remember part of the reason why he's so sexy? He might be a little man but he's got large hands. You know what that means. So it does seem like we are going to get wetness.
Okay.
But it doesn't appear like it's going to be freezing or anything crazy like that. So
no, I think if it's like a crazy, showers is one thing, some mild wind, moderate wind. If the wind gets crazy, then I think that actually, again, it has to be like 20, 25. Then you start worrying about it actually affecting kicking, downfield throwing. But for the most part, like, if you're in that 15 mile per hour range, showers, that's, I don't know. I think it's not going to be too bad.
And worth reminding people, we are not trained professionals.
No, wait for your old meteorologist, I guess, before firing on some of these, unless you're worried about it moving. But I think it's not going to be. It's not going to be like some of these Thursday night games where it's just the weather impacts it so much you're completely screwed. Hey, have you guys signed up? MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN, get you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Get the $10 free casino chip. I mean, MyBookie, we've used them for years. Very easy to use. They even got the cash out now. The prop builder, highly recommended. A lot of the props we give out are stuff we couldn't fire on in the mybookie.ag prop builder. Again, use that promo code SGPN, 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions do apply. So read the rollover requirements. Lightning fast deposit with crypto. Maybe your little crypto pile skyrocketed in the past week. You got a little walking around money. Head over to the mybookie.ag. Use the promo code SGPN. Support yourself and support the show. We're also brought to you by Rebet. That's right. Rebet is all new. Again, they are a new social sports book, and you can use that promo code SGPN. You get 100% deposit match up to $100. Rebet in the App Store over there, active in a ton of states. I think 45 at least, maybe 47. Again, if you have a gambling problem, 1-800-GAMBLER. But download Rebet, get 100% deposit match up to $100. Promo code SGPN. Wherever you get your apps. Rebet, REBET. We're going back to you here, Britton. Britton, any weather concerns, weather thoughts?
Not really. I just got to wait till it happens before we could really handicap that. We obviously, when there's like a hurricane on the horizon and it's a game in the South, you can kind of tell what's going to happen. But Cleveland in November, something could blow in and get blow out. I mean, they're not probably going to be totally off, but there's been many a game where I've been, like, oh man, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrible. And then it's like a light drizzle for 5 minutes and the game is fine. So obviously, temporary, or, you can adjust these picks as needed if all of a sudden it is a monsoon and there's going to be 45-mile-per-hour wind all night. But until that is the case, I don't really care that much.
I think you nailed it. Wait until it happens, because I've been on the opposite side so many times where I'm like, oh, it's gonna be just take the under, because it's easy to get excited about the weather. Even as a kid growing up, like, oh, no school tomorrow, don't even have to do the homework, and then cut to me on the bus, like trying to slam it, get it done, because I was expecting this storm of a century. But yeah, wait until it happens, and then you can adjust. Good way to approach it.
And just looking at some of the
Doppler going.
I got some tools. Getting off the grid, so I got some detailed weather stuff. It does look like it will be very light. Like it's going to rain much heavier on Wednesday. It looks like than what we're looking at for Thursday. Per my sources.
Shout out to Polar Nights in the chat. As always, I love the men's cameras. It is the perfect evolution of beard growth. So you have Britton in the middle with the very 5 o'clock shadow light stubble. Me with a beard, but like I usually use like a 1 or a 2 trimmer on it, and then Kramer with like Hermit in the Woods vibe.
It's pretty short actually right now.
Really? Yeah, you do get pretty crazy.
It gets pretty wild. I mean, it's more of just a laziness thing.
Yeah.
Just every 6 weeks or so I have to groom. Get out the clippers, honey.
Schedule grooming.
Yep.
Britton, you're on the clock here. Third prop. What do we like?
All right. Well, this is the backup prop in case it is bad weather, and then I'll give you the real one that you play no matter what.
Great.
But if it's bad weather, take Chris Boswell kicking points over no matter what it is. Hopefully they leave it right now. It's like 6.5 -135. If it's bad weather, people would freak out and take the under. It's Chris Boswell. Put him out there in an actual hurricane with lightning striking him in the helmet as he kicks. He's not missing. He's the best kicker in the league. People don't want to admit that, but he is. So like they love kicking field goals. They'll take the points if that's what they're forced to do. If it's bad weather and they're not going to be able to connect on long balls or even passes in the red zone, Boswell is going to kick through a monsoon, no problem.
That's one of my props. I mean, like, weather aside, I like this. I saw it at -130, but to your point, maybe wait on firing this because the weather might scare some people off. Boswell's used to dealing with the elements. Last 5 games, 17 of 17 field goals. He's only missed 1 field goal all season. No extra points missed. So there's just so many ways you can get over 6.5 kicking points. And to your point, I said points there like 9 times, but Boswell is the man. He's automatic, unlike Justin Tucker, who cost the Ravens a game. The fact I always enjoy winning money, but having also Justin Tucker, one of the cockier kickers in the world, get humbled by the fields, by the conditions at Heinz Field. I don't really know what they call it now, but
Acrisure Stadium. But hey, did you ever hear that that Justin Tucker is a classically trained opera singer? It's just breaking news. We need a package on that stat.
They do love that. So Britton, that was your kind of, we both like that one. You think it's kind of almost better in the rain because you might get you might get some like nice price late. What's another one you like then?
This just feels off as well. TJ Watt higher than a quarter sack at -135. Winston sacked 3 times last week, 6 times 2 weeks ago against the Chargers. And then twice against the Ravens. So 11 sacks in 3 games. If the Steelers can get 3 sacks in this game, I promise you, TJ Watt is going to get at least half a sack credit. And and for them not to get 3 sacks in this game, it would be literally the Browns just basically kneeling the whole game and not even trying to throw the ball, which I don't think is going to happen based on what we saw last week. When even when the Browns had some success running early, they're like, you know what, Jameis, let it fly, baby. So
I did not understand that game plan. I'm like, you have Nick Chubb. Why are you not running him more? Maybe he isn't back to full health, but to your point, like it feels like they're going to be passing a bunch. They're still dealing with the health of their tackles. They could be in trouble there, especially against TJ Watt. Kramer, what's the third prop you got?
Well, we've heard friend of the program, Scott Reichel, do this. Both first drive start as a punt or start with a punt. So Cleveland's first drive punt with Pittsburgh's first drive of punt. Sean, it's plus 198.
Oh my God!
2-1 for both these teams to start with a punt.
Yeah, for game just starts with back-to-back punts.
Yeah, that's AFC North football. So, yeah, I could totally see that happen.
It's a whole episode of mispriced props. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? All right, I'm with you. Let's talk first touchdowns. Britton, back to you. First touchdown market. Any thoughts? Any plays you like here in the first tutty market?
Well, I can give you. I decided to to go to the Kramer school of first touchdown, where you take 2 from each team. Even though I really hate the Browns ones, I'm just doing it to cover my bases in case they get lucky. But obviously, I like George Pickens plus 850. Again, just if you've got NFL Plus, just watch the cut ups. Just Russell Wilson loves him in the red zone. The second Steelers, Darnell Washington, 32-1. Darnell Washington was basically not a factor in the passing game last year. He was a little bit with Justin Fields at quarterback. Russell Wilson loves him. He's just loves the big target. He threw an interception targeting him in triple coverage on a scramble last week. I think that just the 32-1 is a little bit too high for this guy based on how much I've seen Russell Wilson look at this guy in big spots. Again, and that's just the eye test. I mean, watching the games, you're like, geez, he really is looking for Darnell Washington, huh? He likes throwing to tight ends in general. But if you're going to get 32-1 on, the 1B tight end behind Freiermuth, because obviously Freiermuth is the starter and the number 1 guy, but it's not like he's getting, 7 targets a game or anything. Darnell Washington's really not that far behind as far as expected usage goes.
All right. Yeah. So for me, I will give out. Oh, sorry. Was that okay? That
was
your
I didn't even
one.
give out the Browns. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big boy Jameis Winston 35-1, just kind of a misprice for a big QB. If the refs or whatever want to make it a game, if the commissioner makes a call and says, "Hey, keep the Browns in it," and then they throw a bad PI in the reds or in the end zone, and then it's like a sneaking situation. Jameis at 35-1, and then David Njoku 15-1. He's by far their best pass catcher. I don't know why he's even in the double digits. Obviously, he's a little banged up. He could not play in this game, so it could it could be just one that gets canceled and sent back to you. But at this point in the week, 15-1 for Njoku, who's passing option number 1, is just a kind of a gift.
So I'm gonna pick up where you left off there. So what have you heard about David Njoku? You said he might not play, right?
Oh, I just know he's questionable for this one. And again, the writing on the wall is that there's a 2-win team and short week, and sometimes we see guys fall out and ride that questionable designation to some PTO.
So yeah, I'm sharing the Steelers love, but Jordan Akins you can find right now at 60-1, which especially you throw in the questionable status of Njoku. He's coming off a 4-target game. This guy gets used in the offense. The Steelers, they have allowed 3 passing touchdowns to the tight end, so it's not crazy that maybe they get off to a good start here and Akins slips out off a bootleg or something and he finds himself open. The only other Brown I thought was interesting, Jerome Ford, he's 21-1. And that's a guy who, again, he had 5 carries, 4 catches last game, even with Chubb back. He clearly has a role in this offense. So 21-1, that is a good sign for me. And then I was considering Van Jefferson, but I had to get in Darnell Washington, and the Darnell Washington 32-1 and Mike Williams 26-1, kind of similar handicaps where it's just these are guys Russ likes that are at pretty good prices and have decent matchups against the Browns secondary. I like the Pickens plus 850, but if you're willing to eat some longer odds, Washington, if they get inside the red zone, I think he gets at least 1 look. And then Mike Williams, he likes him on the deep shots, and he just he trusted him on that 3rd down. I think Russ is kind of a guy, he goes to the guys he trusts. Obviously he trusts Pickens, but it seems like he's off to a good start with Mike Williams. So Darnell Washington 32-1, Mike Williams 26-1, Jerome Ford 21-1, and Jordan Akins 60-1. You might want to get that one now just in case Njoku is ruled out and you lock in a good price there. Kramer?
Yep. Well said. Jordan Akins is the free square on this one. It seems, I mean, both from the motivation angle, but it does sound like he may be a little bit more banged up. and we know his toughness. So like Britton saying, maybe there's maybe he's healthy, but he's not doing as much. So Akins at 60-1 must play. Elijah Moore has been more involved in some of the shorter field stuff. So playing him 20-1 for the Browns, and then Pickens 9-1, Connor Hayward for sentimental reasons 70-1,
just in case.
I think if
I mean, how could you not play a guy 70-1 who's already hit for you?
Yeah, he hit for me at 100-1. I would say it was hard for me to not put Cordero Patterson on here, but I wanted to play the. Actually, you know what?
Yeah, put him in.
Cordero Patterson 35-1. I'll slide him in. Actually, should I just play one Brown? Let's get Elijah Moore out of there. Okay. Elijah Moore officially off the card. Connor Hayward 70-1. Cordero Patterson 35-1. George Pickens 9-1, and Jordan Akins 60-1.
The Akins one is at that price is a crazy.
Really pissed me off that I could tell you added that last second.
No,
I could tell you added that. I mean, last second.
He was clearly he was a guy.
Can't even think about good picks anymore around you.
He was clearly a guy that was going to be involved. Shout out to the chat. Magic Man, Blanco, Kyle P, and Easy all chopping it up in there. Magic Man pointing out the Kramer gang parlay paid for Patreon top level DGen subscription for like 5 years plus.
Whoa!
I know Kyle won himself a. I'm pretty sure he used it on a Vikings future over at Circa in the Patreon pick'em. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to everyone, and check out that Ryan. Pull up that hat if you can grab it. The exclusive Patreon merch. I mean, look at this thing. The Python hat is pretty fire. Ryan likes to point out that the hat is too small for his gigantic head, but the logo is pretty sick. So if you haven't signed up, check it out. You get all the picks sheets as well as the bonus episodes. A lot of fun there on the Patreon, and of course, Underdog Fantasy promo code SGPN. Sure, if you haven't already, you're subscribed to the Daily Dog. Britton giving you, he'll crowbar in a 10-minute episode, Ryan. He'll give you 3 different entries with like 3 or 4 guys, 3 or 4 sports. He really covers a ton of ground. Use that promo code Daily Dog or SGPN, doesn't matter. You're supporting SGPN either way. You get that deposit match up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Promo code Daily Dog or SGPN. And we will give out a lineup here in just a second. UnderdogFantasy.com promo code SGPN. Kramer, do we want to do underdog entry and then DGen?
The world
only?
is your oyster, Sean.
Well,
let's do an underdog. We have the man here.
Yes, and Britton gives out a bunch of good plays on underdog, and it's a fun listen. Good
fantasy projection expert.
Yes, fantasy projection. That's what we agreed upon
for the show.
Indeed. Britton will let you have the floor here. Where are we starting off?
Well, I mean, will you admit that underdog is a game of skill, and then this parlay prop
not
stuff
like
is
this silly.
This is that's just luck.
All right,
that is luck. This is.
I
skill.
put my darts away.
Yes. Well, I mean, I gave it out as a play. You know, you can go with anything, but on the slip I gave out on today's show for Thursday Night Football, just starting off with Russell Wilson. 2 touchdown passes over or higher than 1.5 touchdown passes, 1.75x, just making it a juicer right off the top. I really love that. And I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about Nick Chubb. His rushing yards at 51.5. I feel like the approach for the Browns right now is it's like you've got that, you got that 85 Ford Bronco sitting in the external garage, not connected to the house. Once a week in the winter, you go out and fire it up a little bit and make sure it's still operating. Like, is that how the Browns are treating Nick Chubb? It's like he's back, and then it's like you expect him to be used because he's their best player, and we'll ease him into it.
It's a good point. I thought, and I think you could be onto something because I thought, and part of the reason why I like the Browns against the Saints, I mean, one, I thought the Rizzy effect, great Italian American, would fade after game 1, but I thought it would be full go on Nick Chubb, and we would get like 20 carries of Nick Chubb, but like even early on in the game, like they were still in the game. They weren't down. They didn't have to throw it all the time with Jameis Winston. I know Rhythm likes it. I mean, I'm fine taking, and I think they're not, and Jerome Ford's solid. So I think they could still try and run the ball with Jerome Ford. I could definitely be talked into a lower Nick Chubb rushing yards. Ryan, are you on that as well?
Yeah, I mean,
you're scared to fade Nick Chubb.
No, but I mean, clearly there was something going on. Ford's out there a lot. Yeah, I'm good.
I think so we'll take lost season, so they're just like, let's not get him hurt again for next year. But also, we do pay him a lot of money, so like he should do something.
It's like, and then you cut to the Carolina Panthers, and they're like, yes, we're getting Jonathan Brooks out there. Winning streak is going to continue.
I mean, well, what's crazier, the Panthers putting Jonathan Brooks out there, or people who drafted him like early on in fantasy? What were you thinking?
The most alarming thing.
I mean, I don't know everything about fantasy, but obviously don't. Drafting injured guys on a team that's like their win total's 5.5.
It could pay off. I mean, I know they just gave Chuba a big contract too.
I mean, some of it is just it's tough to project the Panthers being this horrible. Oh wait, we saw this exact same thing last year.
No, but all you're doing is you're drafting a guy. So like in the FFPC, they were drafting this guy in like the 8th, 9th round. So like you're right outside your starters. You're drafting a guy that you're thinking is going to come back and help you win the
Okay, I get that, I guess, but I feel like some people were taking him relatively high.
But it's like, come on, they're the Panther. Yeah.
I mean, have you seen?
Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah, maybe he is. Maybe he's gonna. I was gonna sound like Colby and say maybe he's gonna hit the ground running like Herschel Walker. But like I even 8th round, I feel like you could have had some better dart throws. All right, so Nick Chubb lower. Rushing yards like that, the Russie higher passing touchdowns.
I mean, don't we just take the Boswell points?
Okay, well, I was gonna go Pickens yards. Just keep it simple.
That's fine too.
Because if we put Pickens yards in there, and we already have some spicy from Russ on the touchdowns, we're already at 9.45x unboosted, Ryan, and maybe some of the folks have some boosts in their underdog, but 9.45x on a Thursday, I'm in.
You should, be careful who you tell that you have some boosts in your underdog. They might kick you off a plane for that kind of conversation.
So officially, Russell Wilson higher 1.5 passing touchdowns, Nick Chubb lower 51.5 rushing yards, and George Pickens higher 58.5 receiving yards. Kramer, do we? I guess we got to save your
#DegenOnly.
Your prop bet, your DegenOnly prop bet for last, right?
It's called bat and cleanup, Sean.
You know I'm a degenerate.
Britton, what do you got here for a DegenOnly prop bet? How are we getting paid on Thursday night?
We skipping the ladder this week?
Oh yeah, sorry, you're right.
Look at you, Sean.
It's a short ladder. I just a 2-stepper, like the kind you put for like a toddler in the bathroom so they can brush their teeth at the adult sink. But it's a small one, only a couple steps. It's building on Russell Wilson. 3+ touchdowns, plus 633. Something he did 2 weeks ago. 4+ touchdowns, 26-1. I mean, again, he hasn't done it since 2021. Obviously, you can't necessarily expect, he's going to go out and throw it out there. But they were taking so many shots in the end zone. Basically, since he's been back, they do that all the time. Denzel Ward could be out. Newsome could be out. We could be dealing with 2nd and 3rd string secondary members. We could be without Myles Garrett. This could literally be a passer's paradise. If it is, Mike Tomlin isn't going to change based on how the Browns are doing. He's not going to take it easy on them. If they can exploit them and have a crazy passing day, they definitely will. Obviously, weather permitting. And guys actually catching the ball. But this team, when you watch them, you see there's all these field goals and all this other stuff. You expect it to be a game called a little bit differently, especially since Arthur Smith. But I swear, the moon ball, they're talking about the moon ball for a reason, is because they throw them a lot.
Neil Armstrong.
Yep.
With so many moon balls out there, Ryan, what is intriguing for your ladder?
All right. Well, I'm like I'm playing the 100-yard Pickens plus 430. So feel free to fire on Pickens ladders. I do the Russ angle is fun, but TJ Watt sack ladder. Come on, Sean.
Yeah. One sack. I like that.
You can find over a half sack. I'm seeing at -120, and I'm seeing for the 2 sack plus 450, which as someone who tracks this price week to week, plus 450 is solid. It's a solid two sack price. I mean, Jameis Winston is an absolute folding lawn chair. When it happens, he just can't escape. His escapability is funny. It's like there's quicksand only underneath Jameis. I love Jameis, but he's getting sacked a shitload.
Yeah, no, I agree, Ryan. I mean, and especially depending on what's going on with their tackles, I think they could be in trouble. Okay, so for me, this is one I was keeping an eye on, and
really, you were keeping an eye on it.
The numbers are available now over on mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Darnell Washington receiving ladder. Now this is a guy who, and I'm already seeing, I'm getting a head nod for Britton, so I know I'm onto something. He had 4 catches against the Jets. Similar situation in a lot of ways. Even against Baltimore, he had 4 targets. Little misjudged by Russie on his athletic ability. But him getting, so this is base of the ladder, 2 catches for Darnell Washington. That's plus 112. That's it. 3 catches plus 237. 4 catches, which in the Russell Wilson era, there's only been 4 games. He cashed in that first Jets game with 4 catches. He could be going back to him. That's plus 531. And if you want to go up, I mean, they have 6 catches. Do I give that
Take
out?
Me higher.
All right. 6 catches for Darnell Washington, 2906. The 5 catch is let me confirm the price here, 1225. I would say like the 3 to 4 range is a really sweet payout, but I mean,
I'm a degenerate.
And them drawing up some stuff against the secondary and the linebackers, like none of these guys, and you saw how bad their tackling was. So I think the fact that you get Darnell Washington in space against this Brown secondary is pretty intriguing. So shout out to you, Darnell Washington. I think you're gonna get this.
You said a lot of nice things about Darnell Washington.
I like him. I mean, I thought he was a fun draft pick. I didn't know what his ceiling would be in the receiving game, but Russ seems to have, taking advantage of his massive catch radius. And obviously a really good blocker. I mean, they weren't drafting him to take over Freiermuth's job, but he's been a good ad in the 12 personnel. Give you a nice little receiving option there. All right, Britton. Now let's get to a
I'm a degenerate.
Prop bet. What do you like? What's tickling your degen instincts?
It's only 4 legs, and they're kind of all correlated. So I can't believe we're getting this price.
George, now you're a salesman, Britton.
We're starting out with George Pickens, 2+ touchdowns.
Okay.
You got to start off these DGen parlays with a multi TD. And again, he wants to be in that, like Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Puka Nacua territory. To do that, taking advantage of a team that's quit like the Browns on Thursday night in a national spot. It's just a great spot for him to explode. And then just correlated to that, this is a great straight bet too. George Pickens to record a 30+ yard reception is plus 155. He's only done that every game with Russell Wilson as the quarterback. Like, I don't know why that's plus money. That's just kind of like how the offense works with him and Russ in there. So that's in there as well. Steelers minus 6.5 to win by a touchdown in this game. 3.5 to 6.5 is not that big of a jump, by the way, if you're somebody who's like an old school sharp who wants to evaluate DGen parlays through that lens. But 6.5 and 3.5 are not that far off, to be honest. And then the last one, Jameis Winston, 250+ pass yards, playing from behind, just letting it go, kind of like last week when he passed for like 400. So this is 146 to 1. So Pickens 2 touchdowns, Pickens 30+ yard reception, Steelers alt spread minus 6.5, and Jameis Winston 250+ yards passing in the trying to catch up mode.
Love it. For me, I'm doing 2 touchdowns, but they are from 2 different guys, 2 different teams.
So 4 touchdowns.
No, parlayed together, 1 touchdown each, 2 touchdowns total. All I need is 2 plays to roll my way on Thursday night.
Okay.
And I'll be cashing 113 to 1. Ryan, that's the lucky number.
I'm listening.
First off, we made a great case for Jordan Akins. And again, get this now, because if Njoku does get ruled out, you're not getting 60 to 1 first touchdown. You're not getting 15 to 1 anytime. But the fact that they're offering it this early in the week, we gotta take advantage here. Jordan Akins anytime touchdown with his boy, the walk-off god himself, Mike Williams, #redline. Just those 2 guys, each getting a touchdown, 113 to 1, and I'm done. I'm in the game.
So one more time. That sounded complicated. Maybe they didn't hear it correctly.
Jordan Akins.
Wow.
and Mike Williams, 113 to 1. Now, again, if you don't have access, well, you should have. You do have access to mybookie.ag promo code SGPN. But if maybe you're an underdog player, you can do this, Ryan, as a fantasy projection. It's always funny when they say max multiplier reached, which I think they tap out at 100 to 1 there. So still,
so you got there though.
It's not 113 to 1, but it's still 100 to 1. You know, put $10 on that. Maybe you get 100, 10 to 1,000.
As they say,
2 guys each getting a touchdown.
It seems so simple.
This is America, Ryan. And the Aikens one again. If you're tailing the Aikens, play it now. Small chance. Well, either way, I don't think Njoku's going to be 100%, especially on this short week. So either way, I like it, but there is a chance if he gets ruled out, then the Aikens price is going to plummet. So if you're tailing, get it now would be my advice. Kramer, the floor is yours. Touchdown, DGen God.
All right. Mine's very simple because I do think that Britton's right. I think there's a chance that there's quit in the Browns. And I think that I also think there's a chance that George Pickens has some opportunities to make some big plays. So George Pickens to have 100 yards, Sean. We discussed this earlier. George Pickens to score a touchdown. We also discussed this earlier. So those two things, modestly priced, right? It was like plus 220, plus 430. We're just going to add in George Pickens to go under his receptions at 4.5. It's 50 to 1. So George Pickens gets 100 yards and a touchdown with 4 catches.
Yep.
50 to 1.
Ooh.
He has been going over, but like you said, like this is the kind of game where things could be getting out of control in the third quarter. Turns into a running game. I did want to bring one more prop up to everyone's attention. You're probably going to think that there's no way this happens, but let's say the weather's bad.
Okay.
And let's say Nick Chubb, they do decide to run him out there like an old tractor. For Najee Harris and Nick Chubb to combine for 300 rushing yards, it's 210 to 1. 210 to 1.
What
for Najee and Nick Chubb? I know we discussed Nick Chubb going lower and all that, but let's just say it's a crazy weather game, and let's just say they're like, all right, you're getting 30 carries today, Nick Chubb. Najee Harris, Nick Chubb go 300 yards. It's 210 to 1. If you don't feel good about that, 250 yards combined is 42 to 1. Those stood out to me, especially with the weather aspect. There's an incredible menu on FanDuel, by the way, of some of these ridiculous sucker bets.
Yeah, I'll
very
just
fun to read.
Say, if you're getting 210 to 1 on that 300 combined, you can take some alt unders. Some books out there allow you to do that, and you can just risk, basically set yourself up in a situation where you're like risking, where you're free rolling basically. If you get one of those guys goes under, if you find the right numbers for betting against it with the under.
Those are some severe overs, but man, that price just, when you see the font get smaller, it's like the Jameis Winston to record a passing touchdown each quarter, 230 to 1. It's not possible, but is it possible? Russ does it. It's 170 to 1.
Wait, Russ is lower?
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. 4
passing touchdowns with Russ, 1 evenly break.
Wait a second. Hold on. Okay. Russ or Jameis throw for 400. Russ or Jameis throw for 400.
Now Jameis is coming off a 400-yard game.
What do you think that price is?
Well, they're going to factor in the AFC North tax.
Of course.
And the Steelers defense is awesome.
Of course.
I don't know. It's going to be.
It's an or though.
Yeah. I know. I know how or works.
95 to 1.
What?
So the Steelers defense is a bend but don't break unit, I will say, between the 20s. They definitely don't necessarily lock everyone up, until it their back is against the wall. That's why in my same game parlay, I have the 250 plus for Jameis. I mean, you could play that as a straight 2, because that doesn't necessarily mean the Browns are playing well or winning. I mean, look at last week.
I mean, all right, this is now I'm being a little bit more serious, but Jameis and Russ to combine for 500, Sean, is plus 650.
What do you like better?
Oh, I like both. This is almost the latter. We can play Russ and Jameis to combine for 500 plus 650. Russ and Jameis to combine for 550 is 16-1. Russ and Jameis to combine for 600 is 34-1. And Russ and Jameis to combine for.
I mean, you know what you would need is, and I could actually see this happening with the Steelers, is little screen pass to Jalen Warren on their own. Like, Steelers are backed up. Al Michaels already annoyed because he has the under, and Jalen Warren just breaks it. I mean, Taysom Hill ran for 3 touchdowns against this defense because they didn't want to tackle. I could see them, arm tackling an elusive guy like Jalen Warren. You get 80 receiving yards there, 80 passing yards right there. You're on your way to 400.
We're workshopping a lot of stuff going on right now.
Who has more? This is a good trivia question. Who has more career 400-yard passing games, Ryan? Do you think it's Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, a man who pioneered the 40 for 40?
It's Jameis. Russ was never a volume guy like that.
No, but all right. So how many do you think Russell Wilson has?
I would say Russ has under 10.
Correct. He has. Let's see. I don't think it included the playoffs, but I would have remembered that. He has 2 400-yard passing games.
Jameis probably has a half dozen at least.
Jameis, I'm going to guess has. I think I'll say.
He threw for 5,000 yards in a season.
I'm going to say he has 8.
Yeah.
Britton, you care to guess how many 400-yard games Jameis Winston has?
Yeah, let's go with 7. Sorry, right. We're playing prices right.
He priced it right in you.
He has 4.
Really?
Yeah.
I would. That seems low. We got to check the vote. Some votes got stolen?
Yeah, I'm looking at 4. But
that doesn't seem right. Not for Jameis.
While we're in this rabbit hole, Jameis Winston threw for 400 yards, 1 touchdown, and 5 interceptions. He took 7 sacks, and they lost 26-37 to the Panthers. Wow, that was man, what a wild ride.
Jameis
I see why we fell in love with this guy. Just nonstop fun. Well, Britton, appreciate you hopping on. Let's keep the hot streak going, and hope to see you next week. A lot on the line. Where can people find you?
At Britton Hess on Twitter and Blue Sky and Threads. I'm posting on all of those at all times now. It's kind of crazy. Just multi-posting everywhere, trying to reach the entire world. I like how social media is just somehow dividing up by political affiliation for whatever reason. It makes life really a lot less complicated for me and you guys who post content all over the internet. So yeah, that's always fun. And then the Daily Dog every day, Monday through Friday, do 3+ slips a day. Fridays I go crazy and release like 7 slips in 10 to 11 minutes for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I give you action every day on Underdog.
Let's go.
Again, game of skill. I got lots of skills. And then daily sports betting podcast, which is a little bit, it's the luck side of me, not the skill game side of me. So it's called Just Win Sports. It's with me and professional bettor Amal Shah. And we are on 6 days a week at 5 a.m. Eastern. You can find Just Win Sports wherever you get your podcasts.
Make sure you check that out. I'm all good dude. Know him from VSiN back in the day. And check that out. Plenty of winners in there, and Underdog Fantasy. AKA Daily Dog, get in over there. The Daily Dog picks. We got a bunch of new merch hitting for the holiday season. Perfect time. Maybe Ryan, I don't know about you, but I always get yelled at for being horrible for buying gifts. If I didn't already have the ability to just buy myself SGPN gear via just telling Jake to mail it to us, I would say give me a DegenOnly hoodie, Degen University beanie. There's a bunch of good holiday
what would be
stuff.
Your top item, right? Like if you were sending a gift to a dude,
to me,
like someone who's a sports fan, maybe likes to bet, what would be the item you'd send?
So I think if you're looking for like highest acceptance, like if you're casting the biggest net possible, the classic Degen University gray hoodie with the blue letters, would to me is just like it works any time of the year. It pairs well with everything. The holiday if you're going to like a bad holiday sweater thing, we have some.
Let It Ride.
Yeah, Let It Ride, Slaying Bets, Rudolph with a red nose, possibly from Shed Powder. So there's some fun.
Oh, what a great crossover!
If you're looking to have fun for your holiday party, Jake has a AI Santa over 2.5 hose. So again, if you're looking to break the ice at a holiday party, there's some fun stuff in there. Some hats, t-shirts, we got it all.
I'll say
refs are terrorists are always a classic.
Refs are terrorists, and the little ones have been wearing the SGPN athlete stuff to school a lot. So.
Very vague, and people think maybe you're an athlete.
They got an NIL deal.
There you go.
Yeah,
I got a question real quick. Sorry, but
sure.
Before we go, so if the sales of the gear go up for the holiday season, we don't have to raise the prices for all of these shows, because you had 113 to 1, so you got to be like on Dub Club dishing that out, right, Kramer? I mean, everybody on Dub Club is
the
reposting
shows are no
it.
longer free.
I almost feel like we need to set up a Dub Club account.
Oh,
just to check it out, see what's going on in there.
Can you do? Can you?
I found a guy in there today that has never lost. Yeah, 100% of his records were all profitable somehow.
He had 65% win rate over every sport imaginable, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, watch out, Billy Walters.
I know he copied my same game parlay. Tried to take credit.
And then he was making fun of me. He's like, this dude's over 30. I'm like, wow, I'll take that. You think I'm only over 30? All right.
I think he was trying to make fun of you. I don't know.
He was
very strange.
He goes, hashtag DegenOnly, hashtag I'm a 30-year-old Degen. So I guess it's like this 20-year-old kid who was chirping at me. I hit him with some Sopranos, Uncle Junior explaining to Tony that some people are so far behind the race, they think they're ahead.
Yeah.
Which was leaning in the old guy angle, but which I'm happy to do. So
yeah. 30 is a nice compliment.
I'll take 30.
Yeah.
I just like how
participating.
Sorry.
Whoa, no, sorry. We can leave. I just love to get into the tout drama. It's like one of my passions in life. That's why I'm in this business, is so that I can, combat the people who charge for picks. Obviously SGPN's a huge network, and like if somebody's a big hit, repost it, whatever. There's a difference between that and then like some guy who's like in my Dub Club umbrella getting a hit, and then me reposting like, yeah, so buy my picks because I know this guy.
All right, we might have to explore Dub Club.
Yes, and Britton proving to be a loyal soldier in the war on leans. We're upgrading him to Major in the war on leans.
I mean, everyone's seen Fight Club, right? We all know how that's how they took down the corporate credit agencies. Everyone has a role.
I looked through when I open up Twitter and hit GIF, like the frequently used is just the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I don't know why. To me, it's just so funny. Like some guy posting his lean record and then 4 random strangers hitting him with Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's
very funny.
And it's a great, and because the guy can't get mad. He knows he's getting made fun of, but he doesn't know the joke, which is probably that much. He can probably do the lean math, but like, why are multiple people sending this to me? What's going on? I like that aspect of it. Keep them on their
breaking
toes.
News real quick, and we'll talk about this again tomorrow on the Pick Show. But Sean Stellato, the very Italian American agent of Tommy DeVito, just liked a post of mine. So let's fucking go. Tommy DeVito's back.
Wow.
I'm the Italian American of the week. This week is going to be electric. A lot of competitors.
The Dago Dimes t-shirts are in the merch store. Hopefully we don't get
replying to every I'm replying to every Tommy DeVito thing on the internet with just a link to the shirt. I even created a short URL for it, and sg.pn/Dago Dimes. And I've gotten a couple people reply to me that I'm being racist.
Kramer's allowed to use that word.
Well, I just reply with the Italian flag, the American flag, and the hand emoji. Keeps them off my back. Anyway.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, stacking the money green. He's Ryan.
Forget about it.
Kramer, let it ride.